The UIS Precision Setups Cup Series takes us to one of the oldest classic flat tracks in all of the world. Welcome to the Milwaukee Mile, where we've not exactly made the race go any faster around here on the track, but we're in the oldest operating speedway still left in racing to bring some of the more modern stock cars up here in racing. Well, Howie Burrows alongside, I had to get the surname right off the spot. It's James Newton, usual pit road reporter, moonlighting today on the co-commentary as we're ready to get this race up and running to kick off round 4.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much here in Milwaukee. And again, as you said, one of the old, I believe it is the oldest operating circuit anywhere in the world, set up in 1903 and flat with a capital F, Howie, is how I would describe this thing. 9 degrees of banking in the corners. That's one of the more common bankings on any straightaway across the calendar for the Oval Series. So normally you see this kind of banking on the straightaways. We have that in the corners. On the straightaways here in Milwaukee, absolutely nothing. We are flat. And this is going to be quite spicy. They're going to have to drive this thing completely differently today than they would normally do.
Got around 30 cars signed up for today's race, and we should be able to get the starting grid to you any second now for 150 laps and a stage at 35. On pole position is Wyatt D. Thompson next to Max Ford, only 7 thousandths behind, didn't make it. Tyler Helms in P3 next to Alexander Ortega, our championship leader, back a few places on the road. Then it's Aaron D. Kovnot next to Trenton Wilcombe in 5th and 6th, and Finnegan Myers next to Carmelo Echevarria in 8th, with Nicholas Rode and Connor Blasco in 9th and 10th. Just behind row, I need to do my maths, it's row 6, of course, Connor Blasco. No, it's Kai Collymore and Jackson B. Brown. And it's Zachary Trevino and Axel Smith, 13th and 14th. Nicholas Martinez Jr. lines up 15th next to Joshua Carey, and Corey Lyles is next to Jared Green in 18th. Jose Aguilar Lopez is in 19th next to William Johnson in 20th. And then with Aidan Currit in 21st, Christian Zarate, Maxwell Thunderberg, and Cody Banter. Henry Calhoff lines up in 25th next to Joseph Enright, and Asher Bunkley lines up next to Jason Bryant for our last 2 rows that have hit the grid for the start. So you talked a lot about this being a track that's quite hard to pass on, James. I mean, it's very, very flat, and these next-gen cars, we sort of know how they run on short tracks, but what's interesting is it's a much bigger sort of short track than the average. When you look at the size of the turns, you really have to keep this car gripped for a long time around that.
Yeah, it's going to be really weird. It is in that kind of weird, like kind of middle ground, that little sweet spot. I was going to say sweet spot. It's almost the opposite. It's not really something that you do a lot. It's not a super speedway. It's not nearly big enough. It's like, again, like you said, it's like an enormous short track, which I guess is how it is here. So we have perfect weather here in Milwaukee. Wisconsin treating these cars just fine. Again, I was having a look at some details of the independent rear suspension on these Cup cars that is missing on the O'Reilly cars and the trucks as well in the truck series. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But again, we have the green flag in the air. And
yeah, that was one more lap on the pace car, I'm afraid.
You got to watch completely missed the pace car.
That's a trick. They get all the. They gave us one more lap, and they're actually going to do another lap under pacing as we try and sort out end of lines running into this race. Look at some given out. Asher Bunkley, Maxwell Thunderberg, Josh Enright, Cody Banter, and Nicholas Martinez Jr. all with end of lines. I mean, it's going to take us a few extra laps to sort it out. That's an easy mistake to make, I understand. Unless you become an absolute hawk at that pace car. We're going to have 2 more around the track this time. So you have a little bit more time to relax. You have a little bit more time.
Can you blame me, Howie? I'm so excited to get this one underway. I'm just ready to go. Get that pace car out of the way, and let's get started with this race here. Now, looking forward to this one again. We'll talk about a little bit of what happened, the drama at COTA last time out, most likely a little later on. And again, drivers trying to get their tires warmed a little bit. Not too much weaving there. But again, we've got well over 20 drivers on the grid. And again, he holds off. He's not quite ready there, Mr. Official, up in the flag stand with his little chair, his little folding chair that he sits on. And we appreciate his hard work as well.
but they might add more. Not that hot on the track, by the way. We're running at 4:30 p.m. sim time, and I'd say we got a pretty average sort of a May day. Not quite the heat wave that both I and our producer, of course, DJ Lion, are going through right now. It's okay for me because it's 2 in the morning, but over on the other side I hear it's pretty bad. So for anyone else going through the absolute elements right now, hope that maybe this might be able to take your mind off it just a little. We've got our end of lines sorted out, so we are actually going to get going. It's Whitey Thompson and Max Ford. Max Ford was under the line. Whitey Thompson will lead the field to green. Quite a few starting in the pits. Finnegan Myers also starting in the pit lane. So we start on green flag here, but there's a lot of confusion in the field. Let's get it rolling. Top 2 getting away quite well. Quite the block down the track further back in the rows. I'm hearing chaos on the mic, and that's our leader miles out of the groove. Whitey Thompson completely misses the bottom. Gonna drop like a rocket. It's Tyler Helms that takes up the lead. A lot of drivers giving sorries and watch outs. Everybody's facing forwards, but with 3 wide, potentially 4 into some of these turns, does feel like quite the traffic jam right now as we run through this first few laps.
We're expecting domination for the, if you can just get down low, as we see there, the 15 trying to get down underneath the 90, that's Road. Collymore trying to give him some issues, as well as Trevino, our winner last time out at Coda, trying to get to that low groove there. And Howie, we're expecting these drivers to go low because, again, there's just no banking. It doesn't really help you the higher up you go. There's so much more grip down low, and just trying to have that low ground as opposed to high ground, it's really going to make a difference throughout the entirety of this race.
Well, it's part of the grip and also the lack of banking on the track, obviously. Like, you just end up taking a long way around, and you can't carry nearly as much speed on the high line around this track. And battles are going to be a game of wearing down your opponent over time, just wearing at them. Is Zachary Trevino is right in the middle of the pack. Sometimes if you're stuck up high, you just have to wait for that space. And some drivers behind, they're struggling to really get that sorted out. I believe it was Axel Smith on the top side that's just sort of pinned up there behind. Also side by side for P3 on the road as it just passes by. So quite a few drivers just trying to get their space nearer the bottom. Really though, this is a track you have to live mostly in your head, and someone hasn't quite, because our 1 car's around Aiden Curate for the yellow flag.
Oh, that left rear looks like it's potentially crabbing. He's got some serious damage on that left side, at least. Yeah, you can see it almost hopping as it travels. The wheel goes around and around. And we'll have a look here at the replay.
Got loose, I think, ran just a little bit too low on the track. I saw 2 tires dipping below the curb, and already that curb's not really where you want to be. He goes just a little bit under and loses it from under him. No other cars collected, so we're going to have a fairly clean restart. White Thompson saying he doesn't know what happened on the start, but he lost all force feedback near the start of his race, and that's how he ended up so far at that groove at the start, by the way. Looks like it actually didn't take too much damage. Maybe the lighting wasn't being terribly kind to us, because the front of that car does look bad. Like, I could see it does look, but like, he didn't really hit much on the way. So I think maybe it's just the unusual angles all over the front of that next-gen Mustang. It tricks us, makes us think things are a little bit worse than they are. 27 cars are out on the track today. Finnegan Myers starting from the pits, 2 laps down. Everybody else is lined up. So our current running order, by the way, is Helms, Wilken, Kovnot, Thompson, and Carmelo Echeverria to make out our top 5. And that was a bit of a chaotic start, I think. Some drivers blocking all the way down the track. It was our 91 that sort of was doing that on the back straight when I called it out near the start. People really jockeying for position, more often than I see around here.
Yeah, they're really trying to get that position early on. And we were riding on board the 16 of Zachary Trevino. We were having a look back to the 35 of Josh Carey, up 7 positions up into the top 10 immediately here, Howie, and they've been making some good progress. And I was noticing the diamond approach into the corner and out of it instead of a long, smooth, your kind of natural NASCAR line. He's kind of driving it in deep at the entry, trying to use that good rear end grip, and then basically getting it stopped at the middle and then driving out without any kind of, I guess a more smooth input is necessary, but that kind of trail braking, you know, leaving the brake on a little further just to get that nose in, get the rear end around. And Joshua Carey, along with others, have made up an enormous amount of spots there. Wyatt Thompson, of course, as we saw earlier on, as you said, Howie, losing 3. So we have a look here at Maxwell Funderburk in concentration.
I don't
I say that. You might be chewing gum and chatting about lunch, so I'll have to guess what he's saying.
I don't love driving the next gen on a lot of tracks, but I do actually love driving it around here because it's very different than a looser car around here. This thing, you know, has more aero than your average stock car, and it means you sort of have to ride those brakes and ride the edge of control just a little bit. You're not doing too much brutal sliding up and down the track. It's not quite that. But you can sort of lose the groove if you don't hit the inside right. It's very easy to carry too much speed. The banking doesn't work against you around here, so it's much more tire temperature dependent than it is tire wear. You don't have banking to betray you and shred the tires as you slide up the track, but it's still very easy to carry in too much speed. And then you just sort of slowly understeer out. Green flag again, though, on the restart, and a really, really poor start there for the 23. Carmelo Echeverria on the inside line backs up the field significantly, and we're getting a second yellow. There's chaos in the back. That was a confusing start, and we're going to have to give that one another shot. I think Alexander Ortega dropped a bit, but he's not the one that's around. I think Nicholas Martinez Jr. may have had something to do with this. Yes, it would have been right in the middle of this pack. Just some contact, as we'll eventually see, as people were confused on that start, actually. The P3 car got a black flag on the start. Some of the cars on the outside line were very, very slow. We actually go 4 wide into the turn here. Already cars are bouncing off each other like it's a pinball machine. And then the one on the inside of this is going to wash up 2 cars, one into the other, and he's going to be sent into the wall.
Yeah, that's going to be the second incident involving the 48 there. Nicholas Martinez Jr., one of our previous race winners. And this is going to be the second time that he goes into the back of a car, but again, this is just going to be this checking up, right? You're trying to get right on the bumper here of the 19, and then all of a sudden you go and then you don't, and then there's a bit of contact. We've already dropped back a little bit of space, and now we're going to try to split this 3 wide, and it turns into 4, and there's just no space. And again, because they weren't up to full racing speed, it almost helped out with this being the first corner. But again, tons and tons of confidence, and it did not pay off. We now have a look back to Ortega.
Apologies on the mic for pushing it 3 wide, but it was about the big checkup in the field. Max Ford's actually having to stop in the pit lane now. Tyler Hyde did get a black flag off, I believe, must have been off something like passing under yellow in iRacing, but it was cleared. There was sort of quite a bit of mass confusion, and the 23 just had one of the most disastrous starts I've seen, and that really kicked it all off on the row. Once that happened, it was sort of every single car for itself. Stage at 35, so we'll do at least 1 more caution, but I'd love it if we could have a race up to that point. We're having Finnegan Myers take the second lap back, so we'll actually be on the lead lap now. Maybe that's one driver well benefited from all these cautions.
Yeah, Myers extremely quick. If you had a short list of drivers who can really make it up through the field, he's currently 27th and going to get this lap back and get to warm his tires a little bit. He's going to get to do basically a full racing lap here. If he can get it down, low there, not miss the apex too badly. Try to get that warmed back up. But yeah, Helms not getting a good restart, and as you said, hopefully we can get some green flag laps, get the complexion to the race kind of set. But yeah, the number 7 not getting the best run, falling to row 2, but we'll have to see how this restart may actually be a little better for him. And as opposed to leading this, he may actually get a better jump being behind the 17 and trying to go off of their queue, because of course they hold the pace here, does Trenton Wilkin.
In comes the pace car, 3rd time lucky, and Trenton gets a fantastic jump. And Aaron Kovnot's not too bad further behind, able to get it single file as the rest fly into the first turn. I think we get it out there in one piece. Side by side for third and fourth. They're not far off here. This chase up at the front. Tyler Himes shouting, oh no, he felt like he was going to understeer bad there in that 7. Actually gets away with it, doesn't pump the car on the outside out, but was very, very scared of it. And now on the charge, stuck on the inside and is going to probably make that move for second. Pretty trivial. I mean, like, this is a strange way to word this track, but unlike many other ovals, Milwaukee really is a road course that just turns left.
Yeah, it really is. It's such an interesting, unique place, right? You've got the different type of braking, and again, these drivers, these are not light cars, right? These are not easy to handle. As you said, we've talked about the independent rear suspension. We talked about the trail braking, the different ways that the drivers can set the car up to really be compliant over that little rumble strip on the inside, or the curb, I guess, if you like. Which we don't really talk about too many curbs when it comes to oval tracks. But again, the uniqueness of Milwaukee here is now Thompson again trying that outside line. He's tucked back in, but I have not seen that work too often. Again, it just looks like dominance. Down lows, we have one of the cars a little further back there, hitting the wall just a little bit. On board here with the 90 of Nicholas Rowe, back in 8th at the moment as they go 2 wide further ahead. And we have another yellow.
Yeah, one more wreck on the field. It has not ended. Corey Lyles in the 56 is around and back. It looks like a pretty hard shot into the wall, actually. Now that is a damaged front of the car. I think there's no debate about it whatsoever. Certainly a hard shot. Let's take a look at how that one really played out. To the bottom, and oh, that's the next gen. That is what the next gen will do to you on a good or bad day. Possibly carrying too much speed into that, quite frankly. Look, a very, very fast entry. But also, that car likes to snap rather than sliding predictably. Nah, he probably would have made the corner. But still, something about those brakes. Do it a little bit too much, and this car will kill you.
My goodness me, that was very bitey. Did not do him any favors. We'll have our third caution here. So the driver's about 60 or 70 laps worth of fuel, depending on how they play their cards. This is mainly going to be a tire situation as we get closer to our 35 laps stage 1.
Crawling towards it. After our stage 1, we will run straight to the lap 150 at the very end. We have a fuel run of about 70 to 80 laps, so we're expecting one stop once that stage is complete. But we're just going to keep rolling under yellow a few more times. The racing does seem like it is pretty good once it gets going, but we struggled to really keep it going consistently. It's a very hard track. I'd say this is one of the harder tracks to get down, and it hasn't exactly been an easy schedule so far, obviously, because we just came out of Kona just before here, but I think this is the first over on the schedule that's really testing. Let's talk to Tyler Helms, though, who has had a bit of a roller coaster ride throughout this race. Tyler Helms, P2 right now. How's Milwaukee treating you?
Yeah, it's treating me, we're quick. It's very difficult to drive. It's super easy just to make a mistake and make the smallest mistake and slide out of the groove, as you've seen me do before. You've seen Trent do it once, and Wyatt. You slide out of that groove just a little bit and it doesn't turn at all. I think we have a car to compete for this win here today, but just need a little bit of luck to go our way. Need to get that clean air again, and maybe we can set sail after we get out front.
Best of luck with that. You're double file for the restart, so we best let you get straight back to it. But thanks for coming in to talk.
Yep. Thank you.
I don't quite know which channel he goes back in, but that's what we have a producer for today. Ready to go, 1 to green on the track. We've seen a lot so far. I think the racing here is honestly looking like it could get exciting, though. Bit of a check-up here, but Aaron Kovnot on the inside line needs to be in line here to make this really work. There's already a little bit of confusion, I think, on the field running into the restart, but we got it together just in time. Trenton Wilkin in P1's going to control that restart pace cars in. And away we go. Really checked up on the outside in general, because I think that inside the 91's just going to be able to clear right ahead of Tyler Helms straight away. Single file, 4 cars deep. Zachary Trevino's a green one on the outside there, who might want to try and make a duck down. It's going to get away a bit. We have a sliding car on the back end, and that might lead to another yellow. We stay green, but the 23's in the wall. Still more contact entering pit lane, by the way. I mean, cars are going everywhere right now.
Yeah, this is getting quite wild here. I think we saw some black smoke from the front of it looked like the 23 potentially. And it looks like we have Ortega falling back, or was that Ford? No, Sayra's still going all right. Still too wide though. I mean, they're 2 wide and maybe 6 deep or so. And now they're 3 wide. Somebody very up on the high side. Now it looks like that may work out there. Ortega getting squeezed. Is there space? Oh, it looks like looks like they maybe getting through their Ortega now around the outside. We have somebody blinking just a couple of cars back. And that's not going to help matters either. Jackson Brown there trying to keep it under control, and we're still 3 wide through the back. They're just trying to settle down to that bottom line there, Howie. They're trying to get over into a 1x1 formation, just try to get ahead of the guy on your inside and settle in, and that's not happening at the moment. Oh, it's a spinner out of 2.
Jackson Brown just slides up and out. We stay green again. That car stays pointed forwards. Quite a few drivers struggling side by side for P2, but our leader's really getting away, by the way. I mean, it really is just like trying to get around traffic on the way back to work around in the middle of the field here instead. We're looking at 15th on the road, and pretty much no drivers able whatsoever here to make any space in on the others. I thought passing was going to be tricky. It can be hard in these cars on tracks like this, but actually people are really starting to work at each other and get stuff done. Our pole position starter in P4, so not dropped too far, but surrounded by a couple that have leapfrogged in there. And Zachary Trevino, by the way, started 13th to get to P5 right now. Midfield, still a lot of carnage. They're trying to slingshot each other around these turns. Running a low horsepower short car package today on the track. There's Kai Collymore in the 39. Not quite hitting the lowest part of the track, but seems to be pretty reasonable on pace still. Really, running a comfortable line single file, I think is more important than optimizing the bottom, because this is one of those tracks where you do get a moment to rest. Like, it's unlike other short tracks where you get no moment to rest and you accelerate just straight into a turn. You do get quite long straights here. But it's going to require a lot of precision and a lot of repetition. By the way, another spin in the back. Corey Bunn to the 45, just sort of self-spun, is okay, locked it down, we stay green. But, you know, a lot of people are really struggling with grip right now.
Yeah, definitely. Now, somebody who doesn't seem to be struggling for grip is the 00 of Myers. I was going to say, speaking of 13th, but by the time we get to having a look here at Myers, he's already up to 12th, so he ruined that. He was in 27th place, and he is scything his way through the field. Obviously, he's using his stuff up to get there, but he really has the pace here, the 00. And again, just trying that trail break, and see, we leave the apex, and then we kind of come back towards it on the exit. We have that really tight exit, so a really tight entry, really tight exit, not really down low on the apron. So again, out wide, little bit of a late apex for this one here. He's going to try to kind of sneak up on Ortega. He's going to be in the top 10 here before you know it, if he keeps this pace up. Extremely quick maneuvering here for Myers, very decisive as well. We have a look from the back of the 32. We were speaking earlier about the restarts there and how it's been so tricky there. Oh, and yellow again. I shouldn't have said restarts. That's on me.
That was on it. I believe the 97 of Maxwell Thunderberg was the lead one this time, and there was contact. It's not just a self spin. It's a very short trackish moment that's triggered that one. That's one more reset for the field. Alexander Ortega, our championship leader, is going to want to do dead on an 11th, by the way. We were looking on board, but the one is just going to miss the inside of that turn. 97, it's running quite low. Going to rear end him straight into the wall. It's going to be a hard shock as well to the car. One more replay, Aiden Curate. I think that curb sends him up just a little bit.
Well, the 97 was also having a moment as well, so that's how he fell back into the clutches of the one. And but look here again, and now he's just the slightest of taps, but there's no banking to save you, Howie. There's nowhere really to go but up the track.
It's certainly the opposite of a self-cleaning track. It's the non-cleaning track, but it does usually mean that cars end up pretty much predictably in the same place after a wreck. Usually somewhere up against that wall once they go flying. No one taking the pit lane quite yet. Oh no, here they come. I literally call that as before enough cars are committed to pit lane. We have about a 50-50 split on the field. Some of our top drivers are not taking it. Some in the middle aren't taking it either. This is going to be a stage splitter. Drivers really want to try and get out ahead of the stage, and it might be a good play actually if you want to get ahead, because we only have the one stage at 35, and then it's going to be a one-stop race to the end. Might as well just sort of add around 3 to 4 laps to that first half of the run, especially because it's not really a tyre wear destroyer track. Obviously you can use up your tyres if you drive it badly, but this isn't one of those that is notable for creating significant deltas.
Yeah, definitely. We saw on the entry there Finnegan Myers almost juking, looked kind of like an American football running back there, trying to fake out a couple of drivers as he was thinking about coming in, thinking about not, and finally diving in at the front of his group there. And it looked like the top 12 stayed out. Trying to see here. We've also had Ortega and Kalhoff in the pits earlier on. They did not come through this time around. So the driver's still out there on 32 old lap tires. The first of the drivers to hit basically is Max Ford in 13th. So he's got brand new set of tires here to basically sprint to the end of this one. There's only a handful of laps to go for the, I believe it's 4 laps to go here if the pace car is heading in for the stage. So this is going to be an almighty dash.
Given some of the contact we've seen so far and some of the moves we've seen so far, I'm a little bit worried about the words almighty dash at Milwaukee, because indeed we're going to have a significant sprint, and it's going to come at us very, very fast. Trenton Wilkin yet again to restart this race. You actually see the restart zone. It's marked with a double red line on the outside wall, by the way. There's no sponsor on it on this track, but it's quite subtle. But if you're in the car, you notice it. Away we go. Not a bad start for Tyler Helms. Obviously not going to quite beat the leader, but he is actually able to get into line, and our top 4 remains as it started entering. We start heading double file from P6 back right now. Nicholas Rowe is able to clear out from Joshua Carey, who's battling out with Kai Collymore. Big send to the inside, and there's going to be contact, and that's the 2 car sliding up the track, and that will be the end of the stage. One car sent that one a little bit too hard into the turn, and actually it's still kicking off, and now drivers are getting pretty upset about it on the chat, by the way. We're in caution town.
Yeah, that's unfortunately going to be it for the 35 lap stage. We'll get a replay here. Have a look at how this develops. So we're having a look here at the 79 going into 3. Slides up the track a little bit. Oh, and just a very, very slow. Oh, and there we go. So the 97 out wide as well. And they're both just going to have the softest of spins out of far side of the track here.
Now this is carrying too much into the turn. This is where, if you try and make a bit of a corner bomb, it can go terribly, terribly wrong. It's obviously you want to sort of boldly make the pass, but I felt like that car was trending in that direction pretty much from the start of that wreck. That's a tight dodge for the 97. Doesn't quite get it done. Rest of our drivers are going to be starting to run into our pit stops, and we're in another caution period. So I believe now might be a good time to jump to some commercials. We'll be right back on the other side as we prepare towards the green flag. Coming back to green here at Milwaukee with just half a turn away from it. Howie Burrows alongside. I need to check it every time, I'm really sorry. James Newton along with DJ Lyon on production here to bring you the second half of this race at Milwaukee Mile. And we are green on the road. Max Ford gets away. We had quite a big change of drivers, as some decided to stop onto the caution and some earlier caution, and some did not. So our top 8 is very, very shuffled from how it's previously run. Max Ford is leading out the road. Now the drivers that did run the usual strategy. Here's Trenton Wilkin up front. Big gap here in front of Finnegan Myers, who in a 0-0. As he's driving, all this chaos is happening behind right now on the track. And Max, that's not Max Ford, it's Nicholas Martinez all the way down the track, struggling into the turn. I don't know if he's even going to be able to keep a hold of it, dropping back into the middle of the field. It's certainly a busy restart, but when have we not had a busy restart? It's some of these drivers that stopped under the caution just before the stage, though. Max Ford, Christian Zarate, Asher Berkeley and Connor Blasco, who are running up at the top right now. But as ever, James, it's chaos in the middle of the field.
Yeah, it is certainly chaos here. We're seeing the 48 getting swamped a little further back as we have a look now at the 97 involved in the incident that brought out the caution there. And of course we have begun the final, you can even call it stage. Basically we are going for the end of the race here, so the drivers will still need to come in for at least one fuel stop, obviously most likely tires as well. We see again all these different lines, right? There's all these different ways to approach the corner, and depending on where you are, who's around you, what you have to do to either hold position or get the overlap to make another position, right? These moves don't happen just in one corner. It takes maybe a lap or so depending on who you are battling with, and the 90 down low with the 97 looks like they may have that done as we have somebody backing into the wall on the far side.
Joseph Enright's backwards in the 07, and that's going to kick off another caution on the road, and it's more contact and more drivers getting doored in the rear quarter panels into turns, unfortunately. We're going to take a quick break under this caution, and we'll be right back in just a minute. One more yellow, one more run. We had a bit of a rear ending into a quarter panel. It's very much a similar story. A lot of drivers struggling to make the inside of these turns when they're alongside someone, not quite estimating the distance right and getting in, and it's leading to many, many yellows. But I think in time, with no fast repair here, we are starting to whittle down some drivers. Actually, very few have taken terminal damage. Only Nicholas Martinez, Adrian Currit, and Carmelo Echevarria are out. Now lined up double file. It's Max Ford and Christian Zarity next to Asher Bunkley and Finnegan Myers. Then it's Trenton Wilken and Tyler Helms, Connor Blasco, Wyatt Thompson, Alexander Ortega, and Zachary Trevino. That's your top 10. Getting ready for this next start on the track. And how long of a run can we make it? Well, it's going to be one stop from here with a fuel run of around 70 laps per these cars. Some drivers are just hoping we get a long run out of it.
Yeah, I think this is going to be playing into some drivers' hands. I think that other drivers, this is really messing with your focus, right? You've got the mental, like, I'm ready to go. I've got the game plan. I've done long runs in practice. I'm ready to do this. And every time you got to restart, it's just changing the complexion of the race, really. And here they go.
Quite a boxed up restart. Drivers trying to bump each other to the start. Max Ford gets it away well. Christian Zarity struggles to really get it alongside Asher Bunkley down the outside. Really struggles to maintain pace. Thought he was going to go into him. Now Trenton Wilken on the inside is going to try and force it free wide. Has the advantage into corner entry. And you can see the two on the outside of him washing so wide. They're going to be down and out of here. Chaos behind with our leader 7/10 down the road. Further on back, as we slowly get our graphics back, we thank you for your patience is all I will say. Thank you very much for it. Christian Zarity sort of leads out this second train. Max Ford's had the run of his lifetime, which means it might not last forever and he might eventually get a yellow flag, but lots of drivers still trying to go 2-3 wide, jostling for position. That's a 98 of Connor Blasco. Sort of ducked and weaved through several. And meanwhile, we're side by side for P2.
Finnegan Myers now hits up to second position, may start pulling away from Zarate in the 99, as really making an outside line. Howie, we haven't seen a lot of that outside line working for drivers. They've been kind of needing to use that to stay in contention with drivers on their inside. We haven't seen it really working consistently, and Myers getting around 2 or 3 cars. Here we go again, so this is the 2. This is Thompson on the outside of our previous race winner, Trevino. And Trevino trying to hang on the inside. They now bump down the back straight. 16 drives it in deep. Let's see if the 2 can hang on to it. Ortega not too far away as well, with Blasco and others closely behind, fighting for the backside of the top 10.
Very, very rarely are drivers truly stringing out. Our leader's been doing, obviously. Ford's gotten away, but other than this, we certainly have many, many clumps and groups between themselves. But I do feel like someone in the back of the field could easily upend this and get us even closer again on the road. As we've talked about, it's been a major talking point of the race. Single file is the game plan around here. And really, you want to work at someone over the course of several laps to get past them. Sort of wait for them to give up enough space on the bottom, much like Trevino might just be about to. Trenton Wilken didn't quite get underneath, but he can give it another shot. Just sort of like wait for them to give enough space and then you slice into it. Really, it's about pressuring, I think, more than it's about forcing it, as we've seen many mistakes in forcing it.
Yeah, we definitely see some moves that were tried and did not come off the way that they meant them to. I can say that there as we have a look at the back of the 99 Zarate here on board with Trevino in the 16, and Ford and Myers. So Myers 3rd in the championship, Ford in 4th position in the championship. And that gap is coming down. It's only coming down by about a 10th, which is exactly what you're saying, Howie. Eating away at somebody. About a 10th, or so a lap, maybe a little less than that. that kind of back and forth cat and mouse game. I can see Ford and Myers, who seem to be last of the field at the moment, I can see them battling for a long, long time, barring any kind of cautions. There's Zarate around the outside of Trevino. Looks like they've got that one cleared as well. Relatively single file here. This is actually looking like it's calmed down. I say that 2 cars bump into each other side by side here. Wilkin on the inside, Zarate trying to hang it around the outside. Again, we expect Wilkin to come through on the inside with help from Trevino behind. But as they enter into the corner, again, there's so many approaches. There's no one singular way. We talked about the bottom domination, where you don't really want to leave that low line. And these drivers will leave it any chance they get to get a good look around the outside.
Now single file, but as you've mentioned, I mean, it's you go start single file, it sort of becomes crazy very, very quickly. Christian sort of leading out this row for now. Wyatt Thompson almost tried to get underneath Trevino here, but still the line holds. There's the dive for Wilkin. He touches the curb on the bottom, but he keeps the car stable. If he's alongside and has a quarter in here, he'll get him by the next turn. He just doesn't get in alongside. He's going to try it again now. Big on entry. Keeps it clean. It's going to take a few laps to wear him down here, but the progress is certainly being made. These corner exits are better on the outside, though. You are able to carry just a little bit more momentum. One more dive in. He's getting better and better every time around. And we're yellow. It's Maxwell Funderburg that spun on the start finish. And a meatball for Jackson Brown as well.
My goodness me here. We'll get a replay right now. See what's going on here. The 97 here coming through. A little bit of curb on the exit. No. Oh, just tries to stay away from the wall there. Not the smallest of impacts onto what was almost the infield there. Again, trying to get it back up to speed. But he doesn't take any, I don't think he takes any curb. Seems to light it up there. That one, again, it's just kind of one of those, I say lazy in terms of the way that the car moves around. It seems like you've got it together, you get that slip angle a little further, and then it's too far. You try to bring it back, and it's too far gone there. So again, these drivers really pushing the envelope. And again, this will, as you said, Howie, this will bring us all back together again. So all these drivers up front, as everybody piles into the pits here, those drivers up front want to get that good lead so that everybody has to either burn up their stuff or just stay behind them. And it looks like for Myers and Ford, they're going to have to, first of all, hopefully they can retain the lead off pit road. Second of all, they are going to try and build that gap right back up.
From all the information we have, we've been told it's unlikely that stopping now is going to help you finish the race. 60 to 70 laps is a fuel run, and there's 93 to go. So that's quite a significant gap. I guess everyone wants tires at this stage and this point in time. That's about the only thing I can guess. We have 5 sets in total, and they are going to get worn over the course of the race. Maybe if one person takes it, everyone else is going to pull the trigger. But Aaron Kovnok, the only driver that has stayed out at all, running 23 on this stint.
Yeah, I think that this may be inevitable on the restart, but potentially we'll see kind of how it goes. Again, we've had some pretty crazy restarts, and it's also interesting to see, right? You've got Tyler Helms, who's started this race off at the front, and Helms waiting till the very last second on that read. It's kind of tricky for this camera angle, but that restart you were talking about earlier, Howie, that little section where it has the 2 lines, there's no emblem on it, but basically the drivers, once they pull up to that, they have to go inside of those 2 horizontal lines on the track. And some drivers, as soon as they get their car in there, they immediately pounce, no questions asked. Some of the drivers, like Helms, holding back to the last second, and then right at the last second, trying to get that jump on the drivers behind, hopefully kind of getting them off, as we've seen some of the drivers getting boxed in on those restarts. So this will be really interesting here. Kovnat trying to either go early, middle, or late. We'll have to see what the 91 does.
How old are those old tyres going to hold up? On 91 of Aaron Kovnat's going to go find out. A lot of arguments on the chat after that caution. I mean, it's a very, very rowdy chat, let me tell you that. And I'm not just saying that at all because of anything else on the screen. It's genuinely a rowdy chat. But drivers are having to be warned quite hard to keep it down. Aaron Kovnat gets a good launch, but it's Finnegan Myers on the bottom of Max Ford out of the start. Quite a bit of a bounce on the curb of the way out there. Kills momentum. Not nearly as bad as Ford in the outside wall. That's going to send them tumbling down. Kovnat leads the way still, but it's not an amazing run. 25 laps on those tyres will be a little bit slower. We're going to have to find out the scale of how much worse it is, though. My gut tells me it's not going to be devastating for a good while, that maybe late run will be a bigger problem. Max Ford wants to push and make it his problem, though. Almost went below the white line there with half the car. You're allowed to do that, but it's not always the highest grip part of the track. Gonna send it now. That maybe is the difference in tyres, but he's washed up the track. Finnegan Myers on the bottom is the one that holds it there, and he's gonna take out the lead.
What an opportunistic move there by Myers. Basically an over-under again. We said this was kind of closer to a road course than an oval, and he goes out wide. Ford and Kovnat, who's now dropped down to 5th in the 91. So he's going to be kind of stuck to the outside. Their helm's down to the inside, and Ford comes right back at him. So, and then now Myers is going to try to go down low again. Ford basically parks it. Oh, we have somebody into the wall hard. And another caution. The 99 there. Christian Zarate.
I heard an oh my god, that car's dead on the chat. So that is how hard people think the hit was. It's attrition all the way. I'm going to need another angle at that wreck because my first angle didn't reveal me very, very much.
He's going to hit the front of his car directly into the wall.
But how does the car snap? Oh, it's a next-gen snap. That explains it. Goes one way and then it just does the next gen thing and goes the other.
Incredible how much the car grips when you turn right into these left-hand corners. When you turn left, it seems like it doesn't have a lot of grip, but when you go right, it seems so compliant. Comes in, the entry, loses again. He loses it. It's just a moment, right? Again, what these guys are doing is so hard. It looks potentially because of how good these guys are, because of how good these drivers are. It looks almost like it's easy. It almost seems like, you know, I could do it, you can do it. But these drivers, they're right on the edge. And you just turn it in a little bit more steering lock. And then before you know it, you're in the wall. You're just trying to correct, trying to feel the steering through the force feedback through your wheel, if that's what you're using. And it really, every single driver we see is just right on the limit. And if you're not on the limit, you most likely are going to be losing spots. See them back on pit lane there. And that car looking like a lot of others, Howie. There's a handful of cars whose mascara has run a bit, so they're looking a little worse for wear.
More down, more to go. 64 laps into the race, 87 to go. So we're actually all now within the range where we've been told one pit stop will finish the race. Again, we've been told this information of the green, but we've not been having very much of the green. Do we want to play guess the yellows? Actually, I can get the number of yellows, but first of all, let's play guess. How many do you think there's been?
I think that there have been 7, but I am, funny enough,
I'm going to guess 8. I'm going to guess 8, and I can give you the number. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Wait, the events keep populating my list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It is 8. I promise I didn't cheat. It's been a tough day.
Well, I'll have to get over that somehow here. I think, you know what would cheer me up? You know what would cheer me up is the 11 and the 00 going at it hammer and tongs here on this restart. I think that'll make me feel a lot better than everybody else at home.
Helms have been cleared. The racetrack is anything but clear as we begin our next restart. Max Ford leading out yet again. Inside drive is always going to have a great advantage, but I always think being in P3 here has got to be a great advantage, because unless P2 gets a good launch, you get to slot down into the bottom. Finnegan did actually have a good launch here, so Myers is out in P2, and behind is the Rat Race. And there's a slide up the track. Trenton Wilkin, he's going to save it. I don't know if the car behind is going to save it. That was an incredible save from Wilkin.
Wilkin able to use Helms, the number 7 going up high on the outside of that accident that didn't turn into anything, really. And now we have a serious accident. Oh, the 79 T-boned at the start of the backstretch.
7 saves, so Trenton Wilkin again. So his first run, I'd love to, if there was any chance to see his first save. That was stunning work. But he wasn't too lucky the second time. Was not too lucky the second time, and 2 turns later, he's in trouble. Here's Trenton Wilkin. This will be the wreck, because this was back straight. Sort of happened right out of here. Got away with it well the first time. Oh, I'm wrong on that entirely. I know Trenton Wilkin's one of the cars involved, but we're looking at something. Oh, there it is. Actually, it does involve it. That's another car that just behind also has to save it out of a wreck. Seen a few drivers not successfully save it at all in this car, so it's actually notable every time you get it done. And then here comes the actual wreck that's going to happen. Contact pushes him up the track. He's all right for now, though. And then, oh, it's a 79 around. Trenton's just one of the cars collected. Oh no, he just does it to himself down the road. Not sure what caused his wreck further down. Obviously, the 79 is the focus of the picture, but Trenton just actually just self-snaps himself up the yellow. Here's the cause of the wreck then. 79 car, Asher Bunkley. We'll work backwards from here.
Bunkley was up almost 20 spots earlier on, and a bit of it is getting some help from the curbing, and some of it's getting a little bit of help potentially from behind. He's kind of moving up the racetrack a little bit, the car on the outside moving down the racetrack a little bit, or apologies, him on the outside, the other car on the inside. And again, just the tiniest of overlaps. It's so difficult to judge. Which is what these guys are doing every single lap. They're trying to judge if they've got an overlap, when they can shut the door, when they can take the aero wash or put the aero wash onto the car behind. As we heard Tyler Helms in the booth earlier on, who was saying, looking for that clean air. And that's what the guys up front have, that the guys in the back simply do not, and may not get unless they can get up to the front, or if we have a long green flag section of this race, which from what we've seen may not be happening there, Howie. But I really appreciated something that, if we go back to Tyler Helms' interview, I really loved one of the things that he said, which was, I'm not comfortable. It's very difficult. All of these different things, it's hard on the drivers, and I really love races where it's not easy. None of the drivers really seem settled. Even the guys up at the front running really, really quick times seem to have confidence, but you can really lose it so quickly, as we've seen the snap, as you've said. And we have a look here at Tyler Helms in 15th after, again, another really good save with the car on the inside getting into the side of him, helping save them, but Tyler getting knocked down in the process. So tricky race car to drive, and we're gonna get to do this all over again. This is number 9, right?
Yeah, although we're going to lose count quick. Maybe we'll play the game at the very end of the race as well. We need the count from Sesame Street to really help us out right now, but if I pull the accent, I'm afraid it might just be too embarrassing for me and everybody else here in the room. We're not halfway, we're pretty close to it. Away we go. Top 2 run away. Ortega's be able to climb his way up the field after all these wrecks, by the way. He's now battling for P3, but he's on the outside lane. He's at red 32. It's Zachary Trevino, is the green 16 on the inside. Further back on the row, here's our 91 running. If you're stuck on that sort of older asphalt, the grip just isn't quite the same. They've really repaved the inside for the lead. Here comes Finnegan Myers. First time Max Ford's been challenged since the pit stop cycle, but he's a little bit off that bottom. It's tight on both sides. We keep running. to the rear quarter panel. That's going to cause some dirty air. Always a factor in these cars. Not able to run away running side by side like this, but I do feel like Max Ford is just washing up a little bit outside the turn every time. It's still not completely clear. Myers isn't completely clear, and Ford's going to send it in hard.
Trevino with the fastest lap of the race. It's really bringing him into this battle here. This is really turning into a 3 and 4 car battle at the front. I thought it might be the Myers and Ford show. Here comes Trevino down the inside there. This is getting really close, Howie, as he has a little bit of an overlap on the quarter panel. He may start working Ford the way Myers did as a little bit of a wall strike happens on the exit.
We're not getting the runaway and clean air right now. This is Myers' first time up in the lead this race. It's sort of been the bridesmaid of every single race start. And Ford has struggled. Dropped back 2. Trevino got the place as well. But there's a little bit of space right underneath Ford. Ford tried to get under Trevino there just behind. There was a little bit of space down there on the low line. Didn't take it. Trying again. No one's really getting away from anyone at all right now. Top 4 remain in line. Not much is getting done for this lead battle.
Further back here, we see Helms alongside Kai Collymore. Blasco just up ahead as well. Collymore on the outside at the moment. Kai Collymore, the 39, having a ball last time out in Coda. He was a bag of giggles. He started way down. He was hoping and praying for things to go his way, and they did. I think at one point he was around the top 10, and he was really, according to him, kind of punching above his weight, as it were, and he was really enjoying it. So here, just outside the top 10, losing a couple spots here. He's kind of stuck on the outside at the moment, is the 39, and doesn't look too happy out there, as now we have Wilkin coming in there in the 17 as well. Might be next in line to have a go at the 39. He was just trying to stop the bleeding at this point. He's back in line. Just trying to get that car to work for him. As Helms is down the inside of yet another car trying to fight back up after getting shoved out earlier on.
Once a run gets going here, the race gets itself locked into... I just said once the race gets going here, and then I heard a yellow called Trenton Wilkin. He's down and out, by the way. Really down and out now. Another wreck he's involved in. Yeah, maybe the race won't get going. This is just a self-spin under heavy load through in the middle of the turn, but keep an eye on what happens after he spins. Do not cut away, because this is going to start getting spicy. So that's a self-spin down. That's going to be the cause of caution.
Oh,
that is not how you rejoin a racing line, though. And that's going to be contact with the 48. And that's a horrible place.
It's Nicholas Martinez Jr. That must be the 4th time that he's either been facing the wrong way or had contact worth talking about.
Martinez Jr. has just left the session. He was very mad about that and decided he'd be rather be anywhere else.
My goodness. Well, again, a previous race winner, the 17. So he's no stranger to the very sharp end.
Does lock it down, and then he just gets it rolling again right into the racing line, and that might be a paddling, I'm afraid.
Yeah, there was absolutely no... There's nowhere for the 48 to go. Obviously, you wouldn't expect that, would you, Howie? For you know, a driver down low, you know, maybe going 20 miles an hour trying to get it back going, and potentially damaged, but it didn't seem like there was anything that was going to keep them from keeping it straight there as Ford off pit road. 71 to go here in Milwaukee, and Finnegan Myers looking quite strong there. Finnegan Myers 3 pole positions, no wins. Trevino winner last time out, and Ortega winner last time out, so he's got 2 race winners behind him. And could this be the chance that Finnegan needed on one of the trickiest and, if you could say, sketchiest tracks that we have here? This could be his chance here. Again, 71 to go. There's tons of action still to come. But again, Finnegan Meyer seems to be the class of the field when it comes to decisive moves and hanging on to different lines, which is what we've seen all evening long from these guys here in Milwaukee.
We keep it rolling. Double fire one more time. I don't think green flag pit stops are on the table, quite frankly. We are now 70 to go, so we do certainly have a fuel run in us, and a couple stopped. Our top 12 stayed, top 13 stayed out, and everyone behind has made their stop for the finish of the race. We're 23 into the stint. Now Myers gets to lead out our next restart.
Aaron Kovnat in the 91, our leader for people off of pit road there. So he'll get to experience fresh tires for the first time in a while as well.
Little bit of tyre smoke in the field. Drivers bumping and banging and sliding, but no big wrecks on the road, and our top 3 really of getting away. Everybody else is bogging each other down significantly. Helms leads the second pack of drivers. There's some good saves here in the field, but no driver's able to really stick any grip anywhere. They've been struggling all throughout the race, apart from some of our top contenders. Max Ford is our highest driver up, who is on older tyres, newer tyres in that 11, so he might start making a charge up the road. This is Thunderberg in P13. Bunkley complaining about getting bumped out of the turn. Nobody's happy today. Nobody. It is not sunshine and rainbows on this radio. Let me put it like that. It's been a very difficult day, and we're not even near the end.
You don't have any specifics or what they're saying on the radio that you can share on the...
This one's
no, I can imagine.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine every sort of expletive whenever anyone's touched in any way on the track, and that pretty much is how it goes down here today.
It's not a Wisconsin and then a thumbs up.
You wish, that would be a nice positive way to end the day. I'd be quite frank with you, but no, we keep rolling. Alexander Ortega's been all the way at the back, and all the way back at the front, but he's not really much of a battle. Oh no, I was about to transition to what we were seeing on our screen, and then Charlton Wilkin had to turn around the car again. Oh, that was going to be a sick transition. That was going to be so slick. Denied it.
See here on the replay, so we're right behind the 19. There's a 98. Oh, he just took that tighter line. A much smaller tap there. I say tap, it did give us a little bit of a dent there. That's just trying to run that lower line. You're trying to get on the gas as early as you can, but with the extra input, that front end was compliant, the rear end wasn't, and around he goes. And again, as Howie said earlier on, it just snaps, it just goes immediately. And so the guys that are able to push it constantly, lap after lap, they're gaining lap time, they're gaining that quarter panel, which turns into a side-by-side.
We have made it past halfway. That might be a blessing for some, given the courses we've seen on the track today. Some have stopped. Our top 6 haven't. Green again. Myers leads the race. Ortega's gonna get passed hard by Helms here. Being P2 is a bit of a curse here on the restart. It's quite hard to hang on to that place because the next car on the bottom is going to fly at you and fly at you fast. Do I need to say it?
There is a yellow flag. We are under caution at the moment.
Thank you. Thank you for saying it.
I'll just take that out of your hands for one moment there. That's the 97. I believe that's Funderburk in the ADM machine, and we'll have a very quick replay here. Who's he got for company? The 39 down the inside. Just a bit of a tap, and is the 39 able to save that as the 97 goes into the wall? I think 39 might have gotten that collected back up. My goodness me. Again, the guys, they're trying to get the best runs they can. You can make up a lot of positions, so that's basically what we're seeing here. We're seeing the hyper-aggression. All the cars are just right there. You can almost reach out and touch them. They're right in front, and all you got to do is just lift off a little bit, roll a bit more speed, as we see Ortega now into the pits. So Ortega into the pits, 61 to go.
Let's have a talk to Myers as this race has gone on. Finnegan. Myers currently leading, but you've not really gotten much of a chance to have a run. You did take that pass for the lead, but how's it been panning out for you now?
Hey, really good. I think the car's really good, especially in the long run. Like, we're okay on the short run, but I think on the long run we'll be really good. Pretty concerned with how the pit strategy's going. We kind of made our bed, so we're kind of stuck where we are and just have to hope we can get it together in the back and get some actual laps, and so hopefully we're not in too deep of a hole, but we're going to have some work cut out for us if we want to finish this one out.
This has been a very, very, very tough race of attrition. How does it feel having to restart it so many times?
Yeah, I mean, the restarts aren't terrible here. Like, it's kind of hard if you're in the second lane, but you can make it work, and now that we're leading, I feel really good about being in control. It's just the way the pit strategy is going with guys coming in. Kind of wish we did some things, but too late now, so we're just going to try to run with it.
Well, best of luck for the rest of this race. Certainly there are some split pit strategies on the road. It's late at night and I can't get my words out as we roll up for 1 to green.
Yep, thanks guys.
Wonder if those noises do come out on the stream. That's a classic. I believe they do. Yes, I'll leave the producer to bring back thing. I don't even know where they come from, to be honest. You know, they come from some channel and they come back up here. I don't know where they're going to go back in time. I was drafted in pretty close to live here today, I could say. Finnegan Myers is going to lead this restart again. And as ever, watch the P3 car. It's Max Ford this time. That seems to determine really how these restarts go.
On 20 lap newer tires as well, which is what Myers was speaking about, trying to get on a different kind of strategy.
It's tight for P2 here.
Ford's going to force Helms around the outside there. The 7 trying to take second and may lose third here. Ortega, apologies, Kovnat. Yeah. So Kovnat is one of the other drivers, only 12 laps on. As we have, looks like the 19 down pit lanes of Trevino. No, it's not Trevino.
We're on yellow again. You didn't spot. You didn't spot it.
I should get used to that by now.
Yeah, you should get used to that. I can hear it in my ear. It's a 19. Oh! Sent out from another dimension. How did that happen? Did he just get next-gen from the top rope? Kai
Collymore coming in.
People are furious. Like, I can't repeat these words. It's a family show. Wonder if we'll be returning to this track in future seasons. It's a mistake, it's a next-gen snap, but it started from the mistake that happened down the line. And now Finnegan Myers does make the pit stop, by the way. Is betting right now that he can make his way up from the bottom.
Yeah, we've seen him do it earlier on. So again, he seems like he actually sounded how he seemed a little bit comfortable when it came to us talking to him. It seemed like he could kind of take it or leave it when it came to the win. Obviously, he wants to win extremely hard. He's driving really, really well today. But it seemed like he wasn't really out of breath, and he also didn't seem too downtrodden, like the race had gotten away from him. So this may be his chance. There's 56 to go. And not every driver's on newer tires. Of course, he's just come in there, so he will be right at the sharp end of grip. And of course, Ford out front with relatively fresh tires. He has about 15 or so laps on those. So I think Myers will have a job to do to win the race, but I think he can certainly get up in the mix there. As we see there, Trevino and Rode a little bit better on tires than the top two. It's going to be very interesting. Of course, what he would also need is for this to potentially have a couple more cautions, and it'll just continue to bunch him up. He can take out 3 or 4 on each restart, try to jump his way up the field.
Give it up for caution number 54 on this race at Milwaukee. It's been a long one, but we could make it to 100 at the current rate. So, you know, that's a very exciting thing. We could get ourselves some lead records. Max Warner's lane choice has chosen the outside. Very uncommon here, but he is going to get a good launch because, as usual, the iRacing restart zone lets you get and run. Up to the green and away we go. Clean off the line. It's 2 wide behind, so Max is going to be able to cut in down in front. Aaron Kovnot's going to take that P2. Rode and Tabino battling out for the P3 on the track. Tabino's got that bottom line in the 19. It's very easy to miss your turning point on the outside and sort of wash higher and higher and higher. And I think that's just what happened to Rode. He already wasn't really properly alongside, so he just loses ground on the track. I will try not to pay attention to that massive fanning out down the back straight, as I thought somebody was about to go around and back, but actually we are not. The drivers are certainly still battling as if they're willing to risk it. Govnot still trading up front, swapped up places. He's going to take the P2 as Chaos runs further back in line.
Yeah, it is all Skittles around that top 10 area. Now Trevino trying to have a look down the inside of Kovnot, who has been running up front pretty well. They were caught out earlier. They were leading the race for a moment before Myers and others. And a huge snap there on the, who is that? It's going to be coming tumbling. That's Rode, the 90, tumbling down the order and has chosen the outside for the entry into the far side of the track. So tons of understeer, it looks like. And I still don't think they have that car really under control. And they're just going to go high side once again. Almost like they're trying to stay out of the way of everybody.
One just stuck up there. I mean, you can try and duck yourself in the second you're clear, but you're not going to get much time to do it. As long as you sort of hit that lane that is just a little bit off the bottom, you don't lose too much in it. But if you start it too wide, it starts bad and gets worse. Just behind Blasco's going to get passed by Myers, who's starting to move his way up the field on fresh tyres here. He's got the freshest on the road, and they are providing a pace gap. You can see him just behind our followed car here. There's Myers on the bottom in the 00. I wonder if he has played his cards right when it comes to strategy, because there's certainly a pace gap now. He's not going to need to stop. It's only going to get worse for other drivers throughout this race. He moves up another. It's going to be Axel Smith for P6 now, and then a long gap down the road to your next cars. Could this has been our longest green flag run in the last 5 hours we've been here? Perhaps. maybe I'm tempting fate in a bad way. Hopefully not. Myers going to run down the road to Smith now.
Here goes Helms now on the inside of the 90, who's still holding that. I would say the middle lane. It's basically the high side at this point with how low the cars are running. Again, he'll just try to stop that bleeding. And now look at Myers just catching up to drivers in a manner that I don't think we've seen. Again, this is the 00 on absolutely brand new tires, and knows that he has 48 laps, third of this race, to get up to the front. And Helms, again, the number 7 on the same, so Helms came in at the same time Myers did. Myers has caught and passed him already. And of course, Max Ford and others up at the front will know, or at least will be monitoring the 00's march up to the front.
Now on the rear bumper of Axel Smith, he's got pace on the field. His tyre delta is going to sort of scale with the rest of the field. But I do wonder, after this, it sort of becomes the harder charge down the road. And as the run goes on, his tyres become less and less fresh. It's only really a 4-lap gap to the next car, so a lot of these passes are on pure pace alone. That's Axel Smith. Myers is fast. Very, very fast around here. Now he's got a lot of clean air to run with. Up down the road, Ortega's tangling with Thompson. Tried to get to the bottom, didn't quite succeed. Gonna need a few laps now to really try that again.
So Howie, if you're 2nd through 5th, is there any sense in not fighting too hard with each other, since the gap out to Ford is quite sizable at the moment, almost 0.8 of a second? Is there any sense in just not battling and trying to run the quickest times you can as Myers catches up to you, or do you just kind of go for it anyway and just try to pick up the pieces as Myers potentially may move through?
Biggest problem with this Gen 7 car is if you're close to someone, you're going to be constantly get compromised by them with dirty air until you can just get them out of the way. So on a track like this especially, I mean, I could understand someone like Ortega just trying to get this pass done because he gets the clean air, he can run away. I think everybody's just thinking, what's every position I can make in the moment, rather than try to project another 40 laps out from here, because quite frankly, anything can happen in the next 40 laps. We've not seen a predictable race with particularly clean runs. So I guess I'd be in the position of just trying to maximize your position. Drive sensibly to not destroy your tires, but just try and, maximize your game right now. And that may include getting past people who are otherwise, going to be very, very hard to pass, and they're going to hold you up quite badly. Myers caught up to this train. Looking a little bit further back at Blasco, but Myers is now in a chase. He's made up the gap, but Ortega's trying to pass Thompson, who is running a little bit high on the track in turns, but not high enough. It's Kovnot who's really running a whole lane up, but Thompson isn't actually fast enough to pass him. So it's almost like an old DRS train from F1, where everybody's sort of gaining a small advantage, but none on each other, because it's a train of drivers all slightly advantaged on the one behind. Here's Myers to the bottom now. He's decided he's had enough of Ortega, but just doesn't get anywhere near alongside.
It looks like, as you have said there, the 00 of Myers getting close to this 4-car pack. Oh, and look at Ortega's going to try to have a move around Thompson. That's going to cost, it may cost him 5th position.
One more for Myers. He's going to start wearing these drivers down, I think. Chase for the win's going to be hard, but he's certainly going to get position. Himes is in this too. Dips below the curb. Little bit of contact for Ortega, actually unsettles him, but he keeps the car together in one piece. Ortega's slipping. He wants to return the favor. A hit back. Smith's going to be in this 3 wide. Still running up the track. Himes is mad about this. Quote, you shouldn't be out of the way. Don't even open your mouth. That's a quote from Ortega. We have beef on the track, and I think this is only going to play into Smith's hands. As Ortega and Himes, they're not going to be done for some time here. They're going to keep knocking each other. Let's return it the one way back. Himes pushes Ortega up the track. That is a classic bump and run. That is one of those moves that NASCAR's all about. Ortega drops 2. Meanwhile, chaos with lapped cars. The 56 further down the road. Lapped car causes a checkup. That checkup gets Thompson past Kovnat.
Thompson now seeing if he can get any kind of break from Kovnat as he's worried about Myers. Now almost side-by-side contact there with the 39. And now Trevino has cut, and it's actually falling as I speak. It's a 1/4 of a second to the lead. Trevino and Ford are almost together. It's now up to 3/10 of a second again. But that has dramatically fallen. That was 8+ tenths. And so now Ford with the fastest lap of the race, that's now down to 2/10, as it looks like Myers trying to have a go at Kovnat, the 91 on the outside. It's not really inevitable, but it is intimidating. Myers trying to get up the inside there, and we have a caution.
Ortega's around. That race has started to go from bad to worse.
Will we see the car with the number 7 on the side? I don't believe it will.
Don't think so. May I present to you the NASCAR Gen 7 though? So the 7 has come into this. And there you go. Everyone will just about get away with that without contact though. Let's keep an eye on pit road. This could be a decisive strategy call for a lot of drivers. Some of those up front like Ford are running very, very long. And they're going to have to give up, I mean, track position is important here, but can he even make the run to the end? I'm not sure. We'll have to see what he thinks when pit road opens.
There's Ford in. So Ford's in. Trevino, Thompson, Kovnat, Myers, Helms, Smith, Kalhoff, and Blasco. Anybody staying out? It does not look like it.
A whole field taking it. Joseph Enright, I think, just ran through pit lane about a stop though. So Enright will jump the field. He hasn't stopped.
He's at 24 places.
He missed his box entering pit lane and is now leading. I'm not... Quote, I stayed out and I drove through so my teammate could get a wave around. Well, Enright's in a hard place. Everyone else has fresh tyres. Actually, I think Myers and Himes took 2. If we look at the last pit stop time, that will reveal the strategies at play here.
9.6, 9.7.
2. Yeah, they took 2 times on their stop. Enright didn't stop, so he's the sitting duck. This could be the play for our top 2 that are going to battle out to the end, though.
We've got all the heavy hitters in terms of moves and in terms of pace near the front here. 32 to go. Joseph Enright with a fantastic question on this restart here. He's cut. He's been in the pits 6 times today here. Some others have been 5 and 4. Not terrible. Again, this is going to all come down to how Enright gets away and how long he's able to hold it.
Not a stellar jump from our leader, who I guess decided he was going to get well out of the groove. Oh, that's a big one though for a 0-0. Myers destroyed.
I cannot believe what I just saw. I cannot believe. We'll get a replay here. So terrible start from the leader on the outside and Helms on the inside of Ford, and just gets completely loose. And is that a next-gen snap?
That may have been a next-gen dirty air you get behind the other car and it just explodes sort of moment. That may have been car behind gets too close when you're under load and just spins the thing out.
Just takes the aero off of the rear and makes the rear unstable.
And then any contact from them is just incidental. I mean, they're probably, you know, very little someone can really do. But I'm not sure. I'm seeing, I mean, he is, that's sort of the bubble that may cause it. But also, he could have just done that to himself. And I wouldn't, that is, if he does do it to himself, that's less of a next-gen snap. And that is actually just a car lose 2 tires, remember, on the restart. It's going to change the handling of the car, taking 2. And if you're not quite ready for how that balance is going to be messed up, you're going to have a bad time entering the turn. That was our race winner contender. We're following his strategy throughout the race, and down and out. Max Ford now in control. The driver onto, it's Tyler Himes actually in our 7, the driver on 2 tires. Max Ford's going to start out our next restart. So our leader just gets out of the groove entirely. That's what happened to him. He just chose to back out. But that makes it look like he got wrecked from that angle. But we saw the other angles. He just, that car went from bad to worse. If I were to guess and pin it on one thing, I would not blame the car, and I would pin that on just 2 tires. Because, yeah, someone else could handle it. But if you're not ready for how that's going to change the handling of your car, if you're not ready for how that's going to loosen you up, and you're going to turn under a lot of pressure and duress, bad things go bad very, very quickly.
Ford almost losing it as well as they entered the back straight. He basically had inherited the lead. I think Helms was down low, but the 11 almost dropping it on the exit of 2 as well. None of these, again, we keep saying it, nobody, we're happy at the commentary booth. We're seeing a fantastic race. It's extremely exciting. We had a handful of cautions, you could say, but this is one of those tracks, 2 handfuls, each of us. But the drivers are, I wouldn't say unhappy, the drivers are not settled. This is a hard track. It's not their favorite because they're having to really showcase all their skills that we get to see as commentators and spectators, you guys at home watching as well. So in terms of the racing, it's really putting them through their paces. It's a completely different style of track. And we're going to get this one going once again here, Howie.
Let's rock and roll. Max Ford on the high line, and it's slow on the inside. Not slow enough for Himes to get totally passed by Kovnop. Couple out of the groove in the back, but no big incidents, just a few really missing that line entirely. Side by side into turns 3 and 4. These cars just crawl through these turns. We have one sideways, and you know what that means.
Joshua Carey, 35. Been running inside the top 10 for, I believe, a majority of the race. Comes down. Bumps in the track. Again, yeah, the 40 just pulls up. Oh, and then Vanderberg's on the scene.
Anyone wondering, by the way, anyone wondering, has this race been made significantly harder by conditions? It's 74 on the track, so no is the answer to that one. The temperatures are pretty reasonable. It is a hard track, but this has been a uniquely challenging day I think. And if you don't get a lot of practice on Milwaukee in the next gen, it will bite you back. Let's take a break, and we'll be back for the final runs after this. "24 laps to go." You could fit about 8 more cautions into that, but that's me tempting fate in the worst possible way. Let's have a good run to the end, because the racing has been great and we've had it. Howie Burrows alongside James Newton got it right on the call this time, alongside DJ Lyon on production to bring you the end of this UIS run. Let's go. And that's a car sideways. Aaron Cobb, not good save, incredible save. Bookmark that. I'd love to see that one again in a minute. But let's get the race for the lead going down while we're here. Max Ford to the bottom. Tyler Himes up to the top, misses the bottom low. Wyatt Thompson's all over, and the gap behind is spectacular.
Looks like Trevino is leading that second gaggle or grid of cars. So Trevino getting a little bit of a break from the guys behind. And this three-way battle for the lead, Ford's not getting away. Thompson now slots in front of Helms here. This trio has pretty much broken away here. I think Trevino will be joining them anytime soon. Here he comes right now. And that did not go Helms' way. Thompson now in a decent position. And a huge wall hit there from Helms as well. He's trying to get away from Trevino. And further back, we're almost 3 wide.
I had still lots of controversy, people mad about being run into. I just realised, by the way, you know, I don't do this seriously trying, but I've been calling him Himes. That's because my eyes are too small and I've not been reading the font, because that's an L. I've been looking at a different screen entirely, so where it's like, it's a lowercase L. So, embarrassment and humiliation all around. I now realise I might have been calling him Himes for the entire race, and I'm very sorry, Tyler Helms. That one is obvious. Here's the battle in the middle of the field, though, and drivers sort of ending up in each other's stuff left, right, and centre. Aaron Kovnor slid all the way back from 4th, was about to go around. Incredible save, kept the car going. Everybody kept the car out of him. Probably greatest save I've seen all race, and there's been some very good ones. This car getting loose out from under you in these conditions. Over up Smith on the bottom side, the 26. And oh no, that's Wyatt Thompson sideways. Gets away with it, but calls him a yellow.
Oh my goodness.
I think that was contact. Wyatt Thompson claiming,
bodywork there.
Wyatt Thompson claiming, quote, "You drove through me like nothing else." Drive on the inside, saying you got the outside call too late.
Thinking about it, gets underneath.
And that's the Milwaukee Classic, I think, at this point. I was so ready to play the another one sound effect, but the creators of this server were very smart and have forbidden me from playing sound effects, so only DJ has sound effects, which is a smart decision that is good for all of us. But I would have hit another one. I would have done it.
Well, I think we got the full deal here is all the cars making it through there. That could have been way worse there, as everybody's able to go high. The only car that needed to go low, the 26 there. That's the 26, the pickle machine there. We saw running quite well. Good, some decent overtakes at Coda, but this one here, not quite able to come off.
Oh, that was almost a total disaster. That was
Yeah,
last
could have been.
second. That was last second.
And again, having to go to the inside, right? The car can always go a little further out. It naturally wants to kind of slide up the racetrack. Obviously, you don't want it to have the the cup car or the next gen snap trademark. And because of that, car will naturally drift out wide. So trying to get on the brakes, trying to get that thing stopped and going down to the lower side of the track in avoidance is what's making us all shriek at the screen here. So we've got 17 to go here. So Howie, you are Max Ford. You're up at the front of this race. You've been leading for quite a while. Tons and tons of cautions, different drivers coming to call. Trevino now behind you. Two of our race winners are behind and next to you. Do you feel like you're just going to keep staying in the lead till the end? Do you feel bulletproof, or do you feel like literally anything can happen?
The leader has a significant advantage here. We've seen it. They get a good jump on the restarts, then they end up on the right lane going to turn one, and other cars have to run up and catch. There's no tyre delta between any of these drivers at all, really. Actually, drivers from 14th down have stopped for one more set, but there's no meaningful tyre delta among the top drivers. If he sticks the bottom every time, it is free. But if he makes a mistake, slides up, misses it, he will get pounced at. It's just about focusing right now, and if you focus, this one could easily come home for you. Back to the restart. Let's find out. I've lost track of the cautions. We'll play the game at the very end, and we'll see if we can estimate exactly how many we had today. I've got an estimation. Away goes Ford. Jumps up top. Thinking drivers might want the top to start because going top to bottom is faster. Ortega runs into his rear, saves it in time. But there might have just been a mistake though, a little bit of a speed difference. Let drivers go to the bottom, to the top, to the bottom, to the top, all around. And we see a car sideways in the back of the field, but he's in the back, so we do mercifully stay green. Ortega trying to pass Trevino now, trying to actually get clear of him. One of the first times the drivers in the same lanes actually had a good run of it. 2.5 temps was Ford on this track. That kind of is, that's 3 temps on this track. That kind of is an entire lifetime. And a big wreck on the back. Multiple cars involved.
Oh, it's a 79 again, almost tagging another driver on the way out for good measure. And that may not be going anywhere. Yeah, that is going somewhere, and that is to the pit box.
Multiple involved here. Some ended up smashed up into the wall, and others went down the track the other way. At least this helps you cool down the tyres. '79, and that's the big one involved, and I think some others maybe trying to avoid it, slid down to the bottom.
Yeah, that was Kovnat involved behind in the 91 there. I'm trying to see if there's any contact here that got him high, and then when he goes high, he collects Kovnat up into the wall. Maybe right before that, it was really hard to tell. Kovnat running up at the front and had a really good look at the win, running about 3rd or 4th for a while. And that is everything but.
Let's keep it rolling, I guess. I mean, you know, literally, like, I need to go check the green white checker count before I go crazy, and I'm here all night. There's 15 green white checker attempts. That's exactly what I wanted to hear tonight.
Oh, we will bring this thing home. Somebody's winning this race and walking away with a big
15
trophy.
times later. 15 times later. You deserve a trophy. Honestly, like, get me a t-shirt that says I survived the Milwaukee Mile race.
All right. I'll have to go online after this and see if I can order some stuff for the guys, or for the drivers. My goodness me. Well, Ford's in the lead. I have my eyebrows raised because, again, all this craziness, and as you said, Howie, you were explaining that being at the front, either on the inside or outside, being at the front, having the pace, going when you want, is giving you that jump you need. And as you were saying, third seems like the kind of spot. Again, he still has Trevino. I was gonna say he's hanging around. He's right behind him. Ortega's gonna be next to Ford. So this is still on. All these guys, that's the 32, trying to egg him on here.
I feel like the drivers have moved past anger in the chat, and they're now in this like resigned sense of like, yeah, this is how it's gonna be. We're having fun. Let's laugh at it. I think that's what they're thinking.
I think Ortega and Trevino, the 32 and the 16, near the front here behind Max Ford, are thinking, I want to be the first person to win 2 races this year. Be a double winner for this season. Max Ford yet to win one. So he's going to want this bad too as we come to the restart.
Fun fact, if this race stayed green, it would last exactly an hour. Obviously there was one caution guaranteed, but you know, we would have been out of here in an hour. I don't know how long it's been. A while. We have another hour on the lobby though, just in case, you know, it runs out. Max Ford gets a good jump, and Trevino is able to beat out Ortega to the P2. Behind, no one's really making any ground. Carlos dueling with Smith, that's going to slow him down. Also too wide further back in the row. Really, it's between this top 3, and it would take an error from Ford to give this race up.
Look here at Ortega. I was just waiting, giving him a couple seconds. Oh, and as I say, there's a wall strike across the start-finish line. I didn't want to say anything.
We can do that. We can do that.
I didn't want to say anything. We were looking right at him.
Trevino tries to get to the bumper of Ford. Dirty air actually washes him up the track. But Ford doesn't have endless pace here because Trevino is trying and Trevino is pushing. That's a lane off the bottom. Do that 1 or 2 more times, he might get pushed on. Trevino coming right for him. We do have a duel for the win here if it stays green. If it's a matter of if or a matter of when. Checkered flag will come eventually. That is very, very true. You do speak.
Ford all out of shape onto the back straight there. I don't know if his rears are still complying with his requests from the right foot here. Trevino trying to make it 2 in a row. Another strike there, bit of understeer out of the final corner. And I think Trevino's licking his chops here. Only 6 to go. And Ortega doesn't look like he is in this unless, again, something happens. And as you said, down the inside here.
I would have thought the leader would have it, but if you're just that much faster over that many laps, it'll get taken right from you. Started 13th today on the road. Yeah, Ortega's going to need a miracle to make this back up, but Ford can keep on trying. Try to push him up the track. I think he'll get physical if he has to for this win. We've already seen bumper and runs work successfully on this track. Only a few more to go though. 5 to go. It'll be 4 on the line. And it's single file, 3 cars down the road.
Looks like Trevino may have pulled the pin here. Ford drives it in deep, is going to pay for it on the exit. Trevino again. Only a couple car lengths ahead. Ortega now getting up in. So it looks like Ortega now coming back at the 2 at the front. Trevino looking tremendous. Just running that low line. And trying to take down the laps here.
Ortega's going for Ford. He could lose another. Wall taps for both drivers. But Trevino's actually been the fastest driver of this run. 2 tires did not work, by the way. Tyler Helms back in P6. Not some bad points to get out today, but it was not a race winner. Now half a second out Trevino. And now it's Ortega's chase for that P2. Ford does just seem out of shape here, as you've said.
You can see how hard these guys are pushing it. They're driving in a way that we have not seen. As Ortega goes a little bit wide, we have not seen this kind of driving all day long. It's now down to the death. There's only 2 to go.
Ford actually. White flag on the road. And Trevino had to earn it in the final run. We've done a little bit of everything here on the track. We've been yellow many, many a time, but we are going to finish under green, and Trevino's going to race it in the last 10 to claim it on the line. Zachary Trevino takes the checkered flag here in Milwaukee. How many cautions do you think we had? I'm going to wager 16 before
I was going to say 16 because there's a big yellow 16 on the winner's car. I feel like that's appropriate.
I just guessed it because I felt it was 15 last time I thought about it, so I added 1. I'll check the final count, and I'll get it to you after our final race results. Zachary Trevino takes win over Max Ford. Alexander Ortega doesn't quite make that chase up, makes it to P3. Axel Smith finishes 4th ahead of Josh Short, Carey, Tyler Helms, Henry, Karloff, Kai Collymore, Nicholas Rode, and Wyatt D. Thompson. I'll leave you with the next 10.
With the number 7 there, Joseph Enright, who was out in front for a moment. Jacob Bryant in 12th position. William Johnson, Corey Lyles, Maxwell Funderburg, Trenton Wilkins 16th, Cody Bantis 17th, 18th is Aaron Kovnat, Christian Zarate 19th, and Asher Bunkley 20th.
Rounding up the end of this field, the other way, it's Connor Blasco. Finnegan Myers could have been the race winner, wrecked out. Every driver here, DNF, there are a lot of them. Jose Aguilar Lopez, Nicholas Martinez Jr., Jackson be around, Aiden Currit, Carmelo Echevarria, Jared Green, and the others did not take the start. It was 18 cautions, worse than we could have possibly imagined.
My goodness me.
We'll be back with interviews. Take a quick break before we get there. back at Milwaukee, and we have finally made it out the other side, and however long it took. And we have a top three to talk to. Three survivors that did make it to the other end. And we'll begin with our race winner, Zachary Trevino. You did make it count in that final run when it mattered. Making a pass for the lead has been tricky around here, but there's a checkered flag for you.
Oh my god. I am so happy I won that race. Oh my god. Whew. That was... Oh my god. I don't even have words.
That is 2 in a row now. Winner at Coda last time out. Winner here. You said it was quite a wild ride. If you're able to, can you take us through it?
Yeah, that whole race was a wild ride, actually. I mean, these past 2 weeks I've Coda qualified good, but you know, I had to work my way through the field. I had to work my way through the field here because I messed up in quali. But it was a game of being patient. It was very tricky. I had very good speed. I think I was one of the fastest cars in the field, especially on long runs. I just hated we couldn't get any long runs.
Well, once you did get running, how did this car handle around there? Because a lot seemed to struggle, but that was you definitely were one of the fast ones. You made it happen. What do you think it was tricky, or do you think a lot just maybe weren't really practiced on the combo?
I think it's a mixture of both. Like, if you know how to manage the car, if you're comfortable with driving this car, it's pretty, like, you know, I'd say it's okay to handle. It was definitely a mixture of both, though. But in the long runs, it was a hell of a fun car to drive, I'll tell you that.
Any other thank yous or shout outs after your second win on the season?
Yeah, I want to thank Precision Speed Solutions for having me as a house driver. I want to thank y'all for streaming. I want to thank Max Ford for racing me clean. Deadman Walking Racing, all of them. Logan Brink. And I want to thank Floppa and Chad.
That's your second win of the season, and that sure was one of attrition, but you did make it count when it matters. P1 to Zachary Trevino. I'm going to leave James here with our P2 finisher, though, Max Ford.
Max Ford, welcome to the commentary booth. We saw you all over our screens for a majority of the race, and right at the death there, Trevino able to get it done. How was it from your perspective?
Honestly, had a fast race car. I was almost on par with Zach. I just made mistakes a little bit here and there, especially there when he was right behind me. My right rear got out of the seam onto like the older asphalt, and that just sent my car a little bit loose, and that's how I was able to get inside of me. But I had a little bit of hope there coming to the end because I figured out what he was doing, and I actually gained 2 tenths coming to the final lap, and I was like, if I had the same turn 1, turn 2, then I might have a chance here to get him. But just unfortunate, but it was a good run for us.
I want to get the number right. I think you took 1 million restarts, if I'm not mistaken. How important was it to stay at the front of the field to get those restarts right?
Honestly, I flipped the stage, and just after that, I was trying to restarts, like trying different restarts, going outside, seeing how that would work out, and seeing going later, going early, which early typically went pretty well. So I did that on the last restart there, and worked out great. I was talking to Ortega and Carey, and they were like, we're restarting second gear. I'm like, oh, I was restarting first gear the whole time. So I'm wondering if that like helped me out there in the restarts to get a good advantage. But I typically went with like the slower guys who I knew I had better pace with, and helped them on the restart so they could slow up the better guy to my inside and slow up other guys so I can get a pretty big gap to second place.
Gotcha. Well, again, it's not the position that you were looking for, but it's a really strong result nonetheless. Would you like to shout anybody out?
Shout out to Dutch Bros Coffee. Shout out to DHL, Air Force. You'll see a scheme here soon. Let's see, Ford Family for allowing me to drive a Toyota in all the series. Precision Speed Solutions for giving me the setups each week to go out and show the setup off. And their top setups. We get a lot of wins each week, so you should definitely go over there. Use my code MAX10 for 10% off. But thanks to Alex, Chase. Thanks to you guys for streaming as well.
Thank you guys for putting on a good show there. Max Ford finishing P2 here in Milwaukee in the number 11 Dutch Bros machine. bring it back over to Howie for our third place finisher.
Alexander Ortega, that was a race of ups and downs, and I think you ended up somewhere roughly where you'd kind of want to, but might want to talk us through as much of that as you can.
Yeah, ups and downs is definitely, I think, the best way to put it. With the drive-through to start the race, but we got a quick caution to help kind of put that behind us, and we're able to make moves pretty good and move through the field on restarts. I was feeling really good about just kind of jumping top of 3, and everyone would fight so hard to get to the bottom that you could just drive it in a little bit deeper on the outside, make up some good spots, and so did a good job driving through the field. I felt pretty good on pace up until like around lap 100, and just got caught in a bad spot entering the corner. It was Wyatt and I think it was Aaron in front of me, and they kind of stacked up. And with where and when they stacked up, it put me on the outside, and there's just nothing. There is truly nothing out there up in the second lane, and so I lost a spot to Finnegan, and then Tyler came and Tyler shunted me out of the way, so I tried to pay him back, and then he shunted me back out of the way, and I nearly wrecked from it. And it overheated the rears, and I had no rear grip, no front grip, and it just finally spun out. But we recovered, finished third, almost had a shot at the win, and so I definitely can't complain with all that and some stage points.
We did get to catch that battle, and I thought it was one of the most exciting things to happen on the track throughout the race. You did bring the drama at the very least. Any other thank yous or shout outs after this very tumultuous, very long day?
Yeah, shout out to Joshua, the 35 car. This guy had like 3 minutes damage and was able to recover to a 5th. That's all.
Well, a P3 is certainly some good points to make out of such a hard race on the track. That's P3 to Alexander Ortega. And as ever, I'd like to thank the whole top 3 for coming in to speak to us after the show. I believe we just received news of the next track as well, Mexico City. So we might be going back to the land of high altitude, and I believe that will be the road course unless I'm suddenly told otherwise. So it could be another tricky track that's going to cause a lot of, yes, it is the road course. So it could be a lot more attrition yet again. Next Saturday at 9 o'clock on the channel. Final thoughts, James?
Final thoughts, we are going from one flat track to another, and I am looking forward to Mexico very much. I think that it's going to be different, but still as spicy as this one.
Well, that was a long day. That was a day with a lot to notice, though. Sometimes it does beat a boring one where nothing happens, let me tell you that. There's been a presentation of the UIS Precision Speed Solution Series brought to you by Precision Entertainment with Howie Burrows alongside James Newton and with DJ Lion on production. I'd like to thank you very much for watching this evening.